Today we're going to be talking about plants that I've tried but I would not recommend, and of course this is just my personal opinion, my own personal experience, so if you love these plants that's absolutely fine, don't worry about it. We all have different experiences, but these are just personal to me that I've tried that I just didn't get on with for one reason or another. So number one is going to be Crotons. Now I did what most people do, where I try a Croton and I see what it's like. I kind of saw it and thought, well, that's colourful, how pretty. Brought it home and discovered that it didn't like my environment. They need a lot of light. Ideally, they'd like to be like out in the direct sun for, you know, hours and hours. It just didn't grow for me at all, and I couldn't work out why. And yeah, I think I posted something on my channel about it at some point, and someone said, you know, these aren't great as indoor plants because they need so much light. And it just did not grow. I did everything I could for it. It did nothing, absolutely nothing. So I ended up getting rid of it because I just felt that it wasn't the plant for me. If you like Crotons, like I said, absolutely fine. You do you. For me personally, I wouldn't ever buy a Croton again. In fact, now when I go to garden centres, when I see a Croton, I just sort of sidle past it. I do not want to even look at them. And I've heard from some people that they are quite prone to spider mites too. I didn't get that problem with mine, but yeah, it just didn't grow. It didn't do anything. And it just got to the point where I thought, no, this is not the plant for me, and I did just get rid of it. Number two is any kind of Calathea, and I know this is the classic for lists of plants that we don't like, and I know a lot of you guys have a lot of success with Calatheas. Some of you absolutely love them. I just can't stand them. One, they're really fussy and you have to really keep an eye on them and make sure they get the care they need. They can be fussy about water, all these things. You have to kind of hover around them a bit, making sure that you get everything just right. And I don't really like that. I mean, I just prefer more easy care plants. I do have a couple of allocations in my collection, but Calatheas for me, they are too fussy. And when they get pests as well, it's such a pain. They don't respond very well to kind of sprays and things. It tends to burn their leaves. The first plant I ever bought, actually, well, one of the first, was many years ago. It was a Calathea lepidina, and I had no idea what I was doing. I just saw it in the garden centre. We're talking right at the beginning of my houseplant journey, and I saw this Calathea lepidina and I thought, wow, how beautiful. I brought it home and it just slowly perished, very slowly, and I couldn't work out what was going on. This was before I had very much experience. And since then I did also try a few other Calatheas. I will say that Calathea mackiana was probably the easiest one. I did have good success with that one for a while, but then it got thrips. And I found that when I was treating it for the thrips, the leaves just didn't respond well to the treatment and they started to look really awful. Yeah, so I ended up getting rid of that, and since then I just decided never to bother with Calatheas anymore. They do look pretty, but all the problems they come along with I do not like. They are quite prone to pests too, so if you have them near to your other plants, they can be the kind of host, if you like, and you can end up with pest problems. Well, personally for me, that's what happens. So yeah, Calatheas are not for me. Another plant that I've tried, which actually I really loved, is the Bloodleaf Plant. This was a really vibrant red plant and I absolutely loved it. And you know what, it grew really well for me during the spring, summer, but then it came to winter and it just perished. It did not like winter at all. It just became a bit of a nightmare, to be honest with you. And even though it was super easy to propagate and everything like that, it was very tender. The leaves were very thin, and I found that when it got thrips during the winter, it was very difficult to get rid of them because the leaves were so tender. So it doesn't respond very well to pest treatment. It doesn't like winter. it was just a very tender plant. So I'd say it's probably okay to grow in the kind of spring, summer when it's in its heyday, but maybe it's one of those plants that just, yeah, doesn't do well over the winter months. But even though it's a beautiful red colour and it's, you know, a really pretty plant, I probably wouldn't try it again just because, yeah, I don't really like dramatic plants that cause me trouble. So the bloodleaf plant is a form of Irricene Herbstii, and another Irricene Herbstii is the funny gold, and this again, great in the spring, summer. As soon as winter came, all the leaves just started dropping off. It had a real tantrum and it just perished. So yeah, I just decided to stay away from that one. Even though it was a really pretty plant and I loved it whilst it was flourishing, it just did not do well in winter, and yeah, I just wouldn't buy it again personally because of that. So next is Anthetheriums, and I do actually really like some Anthetheriums. I do think there are quite a lot of Anthetheriums that are very similar. There are all these different hybrids coming out and a lot of them look very similar to me. But early on in my plant collecting journey, I did actually get an Anthetherium clarinervium, and I do still have it. But the reason I wouldn't try Anthetheriums again, I wouldn't buy any more, is because they just don't seem to grow very well for me. Mine has grown very slowly. It will lose a leaf when it puts out a leaf, and I haven't really found it all that satisfying to grow. So for that reason, it would make no sense for me personally to be investing in more Anthetheriums when I know that they're just not for me. It could just be me and my environment and the way I care for them. I know a lot of people have success with Anthetheriums, but yeah, they're just not for me. Even though I really love my Anthetherium clarinervium, I definitely would not invest in any more, especially since a lot of them tend to be quite expensive. It just wouldn't make any sense really for me to buy more of something that I haven't got on with very well. But having said that, I am going to continue to care for my current Anthetherium, and yeah, I will hopefully see it flourish one day. We'll see. I do really love it, so this is a sort of a difficult one that I have to not delve into. I do occasionally see an Anthetherium that looks a little bit interesting, but I never buy them because yeah, I'm just no good with them. It's just one of those things. Another plant that I've tried that I would not recommend is Monstera Silta, and for me personally, I loved this plant for quite some time, and I did really enjoy growing it. I love the silvery leaves and everything, and I think probably it's a plant that needs a moss pole because I was growing it in a trailing fashion. I'm not one for moss poles, I just can't be doing with all that maintenance, and the leaves were just really small on mine, and the vines were really kind of leggy, and I just fell out of love with it basically. Eventually I did like it for a time, as I say, but I decided it wasn't the plant for me after having some experience with it. I did at some point try to get it growing up like a coir pole, but I don't think I gave it enough time, to be fair, because I just was falling out of love with the plant. And you know, when you stop caring for a plant, you stop loving it, you know that it's time to go. So I did get rid of that one. I think if you were going to grow Monstera Silta, maybe get a slightly more established one and probably put it on a moss pole, I guess. Just for me, it wasn't doing it for me, so I definitely would not try that one again personally. And next is Ficus Tinei, and I actually do love the Ficus, you know, the Belize ruby one with the red tones. I do have one of those and I've done fine with that one. I do have quite a few Ficus in my collection too, but for some reason Ficus Tinei, I found all the white would go brown and I couldn't seem to crack the code of what it wanted. Yeah, I just could not get that plant to grow nicely. The white parts of the leaves would just go brown all the time, and I tried altering my watering routine, giving it different light. I tried all sorts of things, and for some reason I just didn't get on with it. So I wouldn't buy a Ficus Tinei again, but I would get the Ficus Ruby. I love that one, and I have one of those which you are seeing now, and I've potted it in with a Ficus robusta, and I think they look really good together. For some reason that one doesn't seem to have the same issues for me. It seems fine. I don't know why I had bad luck with the Ficus Tinei. It is a really pretty plant, but I probably wouldn't buy it again because I wouldn't want to waste my money on something that I've previously kind of been bad with. So the next one is probably quite a popular plant with a lot of people, and I know a lot of people find these easy. It is the spider plant. As I say, I think it is kind of touted as one of the easiest plants for beginners, but I don't know why, but for me, every time I try a spider plant, it will do well for a little while and then it will just go down a hill. Like it will either go brown, or one of the things that happens a lot is the leaves will just go translucent and it just fades away. And I've tried putting them in lower light, you know, medium light, all sorts of things, and they just, I don't know why, but they just don't like me, or maybe I'm just not understanding them. But to be really honest with you, I don't really care for spider plants anymore. Yeah, I wouldn't get one again. I don't particularly like them, but yeah, I did try them early on in my plant care journey, and I'm glad I tried them. Definitely wouldn't buy them again. But yeah, I know a lot of people love them, so definitely keep on loving them if you love them. That's absolutely fine. Next one is Moranta, and this is another plant that I actually really did love for a while, and I do still have one, as you can see. This one is one that I chopped up. This was quite a big plant. It got pests and it just did not respond well to being treated for pests. It went downhill very quickly. All the leaves started kind of yellowing and going brown, so I decided to kind of chop it up and restart it. And as I say, I do still have this one, but I have it in a low light section of my home, and you can see that the leaves are like coming out without the red and stuff. That's probably why, but I don't really mind. I'm just doing a kind of an experiment with it because I'm not that keen, and I probably wouldn't get it again. It's not that I don't think Morantas are pretty. I do think they're nice, but their growth pattern is quite clumpy. I don't really enjoy the way they grow too much. Also, I find that because they have very tender, thin leaves, they're easily susceptible to pests, and yeah, it's just not a plant I get again. I can kind of look at them from afar and think, oh, that's nice, it looks pretty, but yeah, I shall keep caring for this little one that I have, of course, but I would never probably get one again, just because, yeah, I just don't particularly feel excited by them, and there's no reason why I would want to buy one again. Yeah, they are a little bit of a nightmare for pests and things, but they're certainly easier than Calatheas. So if you struggle with Calatheas, then Morantas are so much easier, but it's just the whole journey with them for me. I don't fancy going on it again. Last plant on the list is going to be the philodendron Pink Princess, and I do still have my Pink Princess, and I don't plan on getting rid of it at all, but I wouldn't recommend it to anyone. I think if you're looking for a variegated philodendron, go for the White Princess or go for philodendron Jose Bueno. That one is amazing. But the Pink Princess, it doesn't grow well, and it's not just me that says this. I hear this a lot, people saying that the leaves come out small, the variegation is unstable, etc., etc. It's not the best plant. The other thing that happens with mine a lot is that the leaves get stuck. Pretty much every leaf gets stuck, and that slows down the growth a lot. By the time the leaf comes out, it's teeny tiny, doesn't size up very well. It's just, I don't know if it's just genetics or something. It's just not the best plant. Yeah, try also the Painted Lady is another version of philodendron arabescens that is, for me, much better growing. Yeah, I won't be getting rid of my Pink Princess, but I wouldn't recommend it. I'd recommend the other options I just said to you about, because you'll get far more satisfaction from growing those than you will from the Pink Princess, I think. So those are my picks for plants that I've tried but would not recommend. Of course, I want to hear from you. Let me know in the comments what have you tried that you wouldn't recommend, or what did you think of my choices. I'd love to know your individual experiences, and yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. I will see you in the next one. Take care.